Hey everyone, it's Alison Heikkila. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to make a Peperomia card with the Spellbinders Propagation Garden Collection. I love this collection so much. It came out last year and it was recently on sale, and I bought the whole thing for myself because the discount was ridiculous and I had to have it because I love it so much. So I'm going through the different dyes that I'll be using today. Propagated plants, laboratory glassware, propagation garden frames, and then later on we'll be using the propagation garden sentiments. When I looked at the dyes after I got them home, they're even better than I had anticipated, especially the propagation garden frames. I have so many ideas for that one die set. So we're going to start coloring. I've got YG67, G07, and RV09. We're going to start with the Peperomia plant. This is a plant my mom used to grow. Hi, Mom. I know you're watching. That was the first thing she said when she saw it. She said, "Oh, Peperomia." So we're going to start with the YG67. Now, I got to be honest, you really don't need to color in these leaves because they're going to get layered with those pieces that are in the upper right corner there, and you're really not going to see them. It's really more about the stems, but I wanted to make sure that in case when I was gluing something shifted, I had some base color there. Now, you can, of course, die cut this stuff all out of colored cardstock and save yourself some time, but I really wanted it to look as though I colored it. I've been doing a lot of die cutting with colored cardstock, and I love how that looks too, but I really felt like coloring, so I didn't go too crazy with any of these things. We're only using a couple of colors for each element, if even. For the spidery looking parts of the Peperomia, I'm only using one color. But I just wanted it to look like it was hand colored because I've been doing the cardstock thing for a while, and I wanted to change it up a bit. So you'll see here that I'm going around the edges with that Copic marker. Really important to do that because if you have the white showing you lose some of the magic. So I made sure that I did that with all of the pieces. I edited some of that out because it's just redundant. But that's why I did kind of a scribbly look with all of this, because I really wanted that hand-colored effect going. I felt as though what is this color? The G07 was too close to the YG67 in this case. So I went over the YG67 again with the stem part of it just to make it darker, because as you might know with Copics, the more you layer it, the darker they're going to get. You can get a few layers on top of each other and get a nice darker version of the original color. So now we're doing the middle parts of the Peperomia leaves with that RV09. You could do these in different colors. I just really wanted the pink one, you know. I thought it came out really pretty. I love how that looks. Oh my gosh. That pop of pink against the green just makes me happy. I love pink and green. That's my sister Pam's favorite color combination, pink and green. So that's a little shout out to her. Not that she watches my videos, which is totally fine, but she doesn't. Okay, so I'm going over the foliage again. This is the top layer of the foliage. Again, just to give it a little bit more depth and interest, I could have chosen a darker shade of green to really add to that depth, but I didn't really feel like it was necessary. I wanted to color, but I didn't want to take a whole lot of time. I am sure that in future videos using this die set, I will be going a little bit more bananas with all of this, but today I just wanted to get something made with it. So now we have E53, E57, and E59, and we're going to quickly color in these wood planks. The wood planks. Can we just talk about these wood planks? There are so many fantastic wood planks in the garden frame set. Forget about making the frames. You can just do so much with these planks. I'm telling you, the ideas are aplenty with this. You've got to get it because it's just, there's so many things you can do. I'm so excited to play with it. So I flooded the whole thing with the E53, and now I'm going in. You can see I'm holding the marker way back, and I'm also holding it kind of on its side. It's not straight up and down. I'm just trying to very carefully brush that tip against the wood planks to give it the look of wood. Now there are some debossed lines in there to add to the effect. So if you were to just cut this out of brown cardstock, it's going to look like a wood plank because it's got that veining happening. But I wanted to do it with the markers to really enhance it. So now I've got the 59, and again, I'm holding it kind of back a little bit and to the side, kind of laying down almost the marker to give it a very light-handed look. I didn't want it to look overdrawn or overdone. But yeah, that's what we did. So now I'm going to take E43 and I'm going back with the E57 and we're going to do the roots. The roots, this is what really got me to love this set, were the roots. There's just something, I mean, there are a lot of plant stamp sets and die sets. I've got a bunch myself, but they don't have roots like this one. And I just thought it was so cool. It's just so cool. And as somebody that loves to grow plants, inside and outside, it made me really happy. So, and also I used to work at a nursery, so it brought back some old memories of propagating plants. So now I'm taking the E57 and I'm super lightly kind of just barely kissing it across some of the roots. I don't want to hit any one particular area too much. I'm not trying to shade it on one side versus the other. I'm not worried about any of that. I just want to give it a little bit of depth and dimension. And then I go back in with the E43 and just kind of smooth it out if there's any kind of harsh lines. It's not something that you're really going to notice, but I wanted those roots to really look good. So now I grabbed some isopropyl alcohol and I'm just cleaning my mat because if I were, and I don't know if you noticed, but I cleaned up in between. I didn't have that filmed, but I cleaned up each of the colors in between each time. Here we have BO2, BOO, and BOOO. And we're going to do the vase or the laboratory glassware, as it were. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So if I were to hit, say we're doing the green first, and then we go in with this really light blue, and I hit that marker to that, it's going to reactivate that color. And I don't want to do that. I don't want the green on the blue and the green on the pink and all of that. So cleaning it up with some isopropyl alcohol on my glass mat takes about, 2 seconds, and it makes sure that I don't make more of a mess than I already am. As you can see, I have already colored my fingernail brown and green, and that's okay. I can clean it up with isopropyl alcohol. So I'm making it look like water in here, going back and forth. I started off with that B000, flooded the whole thing again, just like I did with the roots, and then did the BOO and then the BO2. That little skinny piece is going to be at the bottom of the water area, and it's supposed to be the darkest because if you think about how it looks in a glass, that bottom is going to be the darkest. So now I'm just laying this out. I want to see how it's going to look, and I decide that I want to add some color to that top portion. So I grabbed the W3 and I'm going to wind up grabbing W0 as well, just to kind of soften that a little bit, just to make the glass look a little bit more glassy. I didn't spend a whole lot of time. Again, in the future, I'll probably spend more time on coloring, but I really just wanted it to look super sketchy and just get something made with it because that was my goal. Just use the collection. So I saved you all of the time and angst that it took me to, I shouldn't even say angst, it was fine. These are not, this part here is super fiddly, but overall, they're really not fiddly dies. They're not that bad to work with. But I felt as though you didn't need to watch me do all of that. But you will watch me do this part. So here we're going to just build the laboratory glassware. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I am so tired, you guys. I'm so tired. I can't even. And I filmed 2 videos today. Go me. I don't know how. Because I'm wiped out. Anyway, here I am assembling all of these pieces together. I'm making sure that they are where they need to be. I'm lining them up. And then I'm going to start gluing. I got my Barely Arts glue here. Going to add that top piece of the glassware. And then I'm going to take off the bottom and then glue that down. Maybe it's the cardstock that I used. It's quite possible because the cardstock that I used is very thin. I didn't really notice any etched lines on that base piece of the glassware that would indicate where the top pieces go. Not a big deal. It's small, easy to figure out, but typically I know that they have those etched lines. And I think that maybe it's just because my paper was really thin. So here I am getting ready to attach the roots. I'm putting the big fat one on first, and I'm tucking it underneath where the stem of the peperomia is, because it's pretty long. And you don't even have to use all of these pieces together. I just really wanted a big root system because I want a happy plant. And happy plants have big root systems. So now I'm gluing the top piece on, and there's a little notch at the base of all of the plants where you can just kind of tuck that main root piece into, and it just fits like a puzzle. So it's really easy to work with because there's that tiny little notch there. If you have the set, you'll know what I mean. Now I'm attaching the top piece of that glassware to make it look as though the plant is actually inside. At some point, I'm sure that I'll wind up cutting a piece of vellum or acetate or something to make it look more glassy, but I didn't this time. So I have a piece of very pale green cardstock. This stuff is really old. I have no idea who makes it. It's just pale green cardstock. Use what you've got, guys. I didn't want to use white. I wanted green just to kind of go with the plant theme. And now I've got my wood planks. I'm trying to decide if I want to use one of the planks or two to make it look like a shelf. But something's bothering me. Something's just, it's off. You'll see in a minute. So now I have the Zigzag Squares stencil from A Colorful Life Design. This is one of the newest stencils for the month of March. And I don't want to cover the whole thing. I want it to be focused around the area that the plant is. I flipped the pale green cardstock over because there was a mark on it, and I didn't want that to be on my finished card. So now I have Rustic Wilderness and a blending brush, and I'm going to just apply the ink to where the plant is. I'm working where the plant is, and I'm making the ink heaviest there, and then I'm working my way out. You can see I'm holding it in place. For the life of me, I don't know why I'm not using my fabulous magnets from my glass mat. I have no idea, but I didn't. So I checked it, and I decided that I wanted it to be a little heavier and move out a little further. So isn't that a fun design? So simple, just a little something to make the background a little bit more interesting without having to create a full scene, right? So here, this is what's bothering me. If you know anything about perspective, the shelf shouldn't look straight on that end there. It should have an angle, like an angle going in, to make it look as though you're looking at the shelf and the shelf is going back towards the wall, right? Go and look at a shelf, guys. You'll know what I mean. So now it's making me crazy having it straight. I have to fix it. Now, keep in mind, that's not what these dies are necessarily for. You're supposed to build frames with them. But I really just wanted it to be a shelf. So I am cutting it off at an angle. I used the pencil to kind of figure out where I wanted my angle to be, and I marked it across both planks at the same time. So now, when you look at it, it looks like it's going back the way a shelf properly should if you're looking at it in perspective. See that? Oh, that was just the thing it needed. I feel so much better now. It's the little things, you guys. It's the little things. So now I have finally wisened up and grabbed a magnet so that it would hold my pieces in place while I applied some glue to that bottom plank. And there are bigger planks than these two. I just didn't want anything super huge, by the way. So now I'm going to add some glue to the top piece. I've got the magnet back on the bottom one so that it holds it in place while it's drying. And look at that. Oh, the angle. It's all about that angle. It just makes me feel so much better. So there, I added glue to the whole thing. I just cut that part out because it gets old after a while. We all know how to glue things. And now I am going to grab a sentiment. You guys, these sentiments are everything. They are so fabulous. I don't know if you can read them that quickly, but just go to the website and take a look at them because I'm telling you, they are fantastic. I grabbed Rainforest VersaFine Clair, and I'm going to stamp that out and then use the coordinating die to cut it out. I'll go through a couple of these sentiments since I have it right here next to me. Let's grow old together. The one that I'm using is, it takes a long time to grow an old friend. Let's root for each other and watch each other grow. Big things often have small beginnings. You grow, girl. I mean, there's just so many good ones. There's just so many. Let Love Grow. Thanks for Helping Me Grow. If you need to make teacher cards, Thanks for Helping Me Grow is perfect for that. All right, so that's just a few of them. There's more. They're fabulous. I can't recommend it enough. And I love the fonts. Okay, so that white was bothering me. It was too stark. I wasn't feeling it, and I didn't want to use the same green that I used for the background. So I just grabbed my my blending brush, and I didn't even add any ink to it. I just used the residual ink that was there. And my friends, we are leaving the card base white because it works with the glassware. So aren't you proud? No inking on the card base this time. But first, we're going to add some foam to the back of the sentiment. This is 1mm foam strips from scrapbook.com. This stuff is great. It really is. The adhesive backing comes off really easily. They cut beautifully. They come in a few different thicknesses. I tend to use the 1mm or the 3mm the most, but they're very good. And they're not super costly or anything. So now I'm just figuring out where I want it. And I decided to put it right on top of where the water meets where it's empty, like free of water. I just thought it looked better there. So now I have my Artis craft glue. This is also from scrapbook.com. Applying that to the back. And we're going to lay this down. And the card is done, guys. I even like the white because it works with the glassware, like I said. Just, oh, this set makes me happy. I hope it makes you happy too. Do you like to grow plants? Do you have this collection? Tell me all about it in the comments below. So that's it for me. Make sure if you shop at Colorful Life Designs, you use my code ALFAN10 to save yourself 10%. And if you want the Propagation Garden Collection, make sure you go to Spellbinders right now and grab it, because as of the time of making this video, it was still on sale and the price is ridiculous. So I hope you can snag it if you want to. I appreciate you being here with me. I will see you all very soon. Be well, stay safe. Peace out.